Strategic chess move here in Panama. As you know, the giant Danish shipping company Maersk has just bought the Panama Canal Railway. Now, a little bit of history so that you understand a little more about what's going on. The Panama Canal Railway was first opened in 1855. The original railway is gone because that was when they opened the canal. They didn't need it anymore, and they went to the red part of the map, the little line that goes from the Pacific side on the lower right to the upper left, which is the Atlantic side. So the videos that I'm going to show you will start on the Pacific side. The photos I'm going to show you will be on the Pacific side. This is actually quite important and strategic. Now, I made these stitched images from the top of Angkon Hill. The blue arrow on the top left is the China Bridge that's being built. The red arrow is the Hutchison ports that BlackRock is trying to buy, but Xi has blocked. So that's the Hutchison port on the Pacific side. They're also trying to buy the Hutchison port on the Atlantic side. These ports are important because and the railway connects them. Those are an integral structure because basically the railway is used as is almost like the ports are used sort of like a drop box. You can ships that don't want to transit the canal can drop off and pick up containers at those ports on either side of the Panama Canal without actually transiting the canal. So this is extremely important. So you've got the two ports on each side of the canal, and then you've got this railway that connects them. So it's very important to realize that this railway is not just a little railway across the Panama Canal. It is part of the structure of those ports and a very important part so that the ships don't have to actually transit the canal. For more point of reference, I'm shooting this photo, that construction right in front of you, that's China Bridge. And right behind that is the Hutchison port that BlackRock is trying to buy. And just behind that is the railway. So now you've got a reference. The Pacific is on our right, and the railway goes to the left to the Atlantic side to the other Hutchison port that BlackRock wants to buy. Now, BlackRock, I am told, wants to work with MSC, the Mediterranean Shipping Company, but Maersk is the big dog in the canal. And so Maersk, who is super woke, like BlackRock, are both super woke. And of course, Larry Fink, the leader of BlackRock, has dual citizenship, Israeli and American. So this is actually a big fight between Zionist and Chinese Communist Party. That's extremely important to understand. If you don't understand that, nothing else will make sense over in the Suez and the eventual fight that we're probably going to have with Egypt for the Suez Canal and clearing out Gaza. This is all related. This is not separate matters. This is global. And so this is a local battlefield here in Panama, but it's strategic. So Maersk, I don't believe that the main move going on here is about Greenland. Of course, Maersk is Danish, right? And there's the Greenland thing going on with Trump now, and of course Denmark is not happy with that. But this is also about control of the Panama Canal. And if BlackRock gets the ports and MSC is working with BlackRock, the Mediterranean Shipping Company, then that starts to edge out Maersk here. And I'm told that Maersk and MSC are having their own, normal titanic fights between oligarchical systems, because that's what this is ultimately about, control of routes and resources, and oligarchs have found their partners. Importantly, full disclosure, before Zionists started pushing the global death jabs, I was more on the Zionist side for sure, because I saw it largely between Zionist and CCP, and of course the United States, which is consanguinated with the Zionists, and increasingly so with CCP actually. So the United States is a battleground just like Panama is, just scale it up immensely. So in other words, we've got internal cancers going on, and I don't see that they'll be solved, actually. So I think we're going to end up in a war with Iran in short order because Trump is a Zionist, and he's openly Zionist, and the Zionists have wanted war with Iran for a long time. But that doesn't make you want to side with China by any stretch. I've been to China quite a lot. I've been around Asia for about 19 years. I made this photo outside of my hotel room in Nanjing, and the air was good that day. So this is normal air pollution across China. When I was in Kunming, that air would be equivalent to the worst day you've seen in Los Angeles, and they consider that some of the best air in China, in Kunming. But I made this photo in Nanjing. So, I've spent a lot of time running around China, and even a lot more time running around with their neighbors, such as in Hong Kong. And so we're watching these battles between giant oligarchs, two of which are Zionist as a basic archetypical structure, and Chinese Communist Party. Not Chinese. Chinese are separate. That's like saying Europeans. So Chinese have many different architectures, but the Chinese Communist Party is absolutely our enemy. And the Zionists, well, they push the death jabs on us. So judge for yourself. And they want us to use our military to help them take the Suez Canal and clear out Gaza and that sort of thing. Now, both are intensely racist. The Chinese Communist Party, they are, the Hong Kongers often call them Chai Nazis because they are so racist on the genetic side. They want the whole world to be Han Chinese. And so that's quite problematic. So the China's Belt and Road Initiative goes right here through Panama and through the Strait of Hormuz and through the Suez. And that's what the Zionists also want. And obviously the Russians and others want to keep it open. So everybody's constantly, realigning their alliances. I found this map in a book called China's Belt and Road Initiative, Panama. I have it. You can get it in English or Spanish, and it's published in Panama. So they're going to open up the Darien Gap. I actually found the bridges down there when I was down there with some Indians looking for them. And notice I often have left Panama and gone over to Netherlands. Notice Hutchison Whampoa controls port infrastructure there in Rotterdam, which is the most important port in Europe, right? And so, and just south of that is Antwerp, the second most. And so this is all related. This is not separable at all. And notice when I was in Hong Kong, many people ask why I get kicked out. And this is one reason. You'll notice that my apologies for the language. It seemed appropriate for the terrain. Notice the officer puts his hand on his weapon as he comes up and talks to me. It looked like they were about to beat me up, but they seemed to become afraid of the crowd, and they ran off, trotted down the road, actually.
The British traitor! The British traitor! They're fucking traitors!
咁啊，見到啦。 咁啊，見到呢個警員唔知做乜嘢啦嚇，追住。
Communist Party. Why are you trading out to the Communist Party?
Calm down. I'm just doing my job, just like you,
Right.
right?
Yeah, why are you trading out to the Communist Party?
Just do my job.
Yeah, right.
I don't work for the Communist Party. I work for the Hong Kong government.
You work for the Hong Kong government. Don't fucking touch me.
咁啊，
Get out of here, you fucking cunt!
It's interesting because at that time I was still, I would be definitely more in the camp with the Zionist. And now starts the death jab. That video was made right at the transition between before COVID and so BC and after COVID. So right now, we're getting into January of 2020. Bannon calls me up and asks me what I think about the COVID thing, or we didn't call it COVID then, but I was wearing a mask, and I said, "Hey, I'm wearing a mask," and so that was in January of 2020. And so then things got going from there, and I noticed that the Zionists were pushing the jabs on us hard, and then I realized, wait a minute, we're between oligarchical structures, and both of the major sides definitely are trying to kill us. The Panama Railway opened in 1855. So that was 48 years before the Republic of Panama was formed by the United States. So Americans made the Panama Railway. It wasn't the Panama Canal Railway at the time because it was the Panama Railway. There was no canal. So because we formed the Republic of Panama in 1903 so that we could create the Panama Canal, because this used to be part of Colombia. And so in 1903, the Republic of Panama was formed, and then we opened the canal in in 1914. And since that time, and during the construction of the canal, the Panama Railway was absolutely vital. And the railway has been a strategic asset since 1855 when it opened. So for 170 years now, that little tiny transcontinental railway. Now, Masako Ganaha and I, we rode all the way across the isthmus on the Panama Canal train, the one in question that has just been bought. And so Masako asked, can she put a camera on top of the train? Because that's how Masako Ganaha rolls. And they let her climb up the train, and she firmly attached a great camera. And so we have video going all the way across the canal and all the way back. And then we rode in the engineer car all the way across and back. At one point, when you get to the other side, you have to get out of the train and jump on the engineer car on the other side of the train, which we did.
Sí,
Charge.
sí,
Oh, no, el sol.
no, eso no.
No, really?
No,
It's not charging from the sun. Okay.
Ahora en Púa Marca lo vamos a cargar.
Oh, that's a mix-up. That's when they let her in front of the train in Argentina. This is when they let her in front of the train in Panama. And now we're going back to the Panama side. Now we're on the Cologne side. When I say Panama side, I mean Panama City. We're in the engineer car. It's very cool. There's the Panama Canal. There we go. And so before I play the footage of from the camera that Masako put on top of the train, watch Masako actually open one of the canal locks. This is pretty unbelievable. This is not an average tour. It's just the sort of thing that Masako manages to do around the world. She gets amazing access and sees amazing things. So Masako is going to open the lock.
Left click. I use the mouse and put the mouse in the red arrow. And left click. Click.
Ahora.
See? Now
Left.
on the other.
Other.
You see how it turns green? It start opening.
Oh.
Abriendo.
Masako,
You can see over here.
I never know what you're going to do next.
This is the
There it
gate to
is.
be open.
I opened the gate.
Look over here, or physically, or visually.
Here, we'll walk around there and look.
Abriendo, Cándido.
Masako, you went from driving the train on the Panama Railway to opening the locks.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
all you gotta do now is bring a ship into the locks. That's your next. That's all that's missing.
Slightly more training. And there's the ship coming through right over there. Oh, those gates were made in Italy. Well done, Masako. Okay, I'll be quiet until we come up on a train that we're going to pass, which is interesting. And also, we're going to come by Noriega's prison on the right. It'll be about 20 minutes from now or so. And then we're going to come up on the track that we're on now, goes over a bridge that got hit by a ship, which is interesting. And then we go by a Nazi crane. They call it Herman the German, but actually everybody here calls it the Nazi crane. But in writing online, they always call it Herman German or the Titan. They've tried to rename it, but it's a Nazi crane, and it's still active actually on the canal. So it's German engineering. So I'll be quiet. We're gonna cross by a train after a while, and I'll chime in at that point, and then again when we get down to Noriega's prison, and the railway that got hit, the bridge that got hit by a ship. Actually, yeah, that was quite interesting. And that's the canal on the left, by the way. So as we go, we're going towards the Atlantic side here. So the canal is on the left. I'm going to chime in real quick because there's a few points of interest coming up, such as Noriega's prison, where he spent years, and then this bridge, this train track that we're on now goes over a bridge that got hit by a ship, and it put a hole in the bridge. It's been fixed, obviously, because we're about to go over that bridge. And then we're going to go by a Nazi crane, an actual Nazi crane that was brought over from Germany that's still used on the canal. And we'll also go by a church that I've been to a couple times. It's a very nice little church in a place called Gamboa. So this is very nice. We're about to, this is such a nice trip. Obviously, that thing on the left is the Panama Canal. And so this, we're going to come up on Noriega's prison here on the right here soon. Still a little bit more. I'll be quiet. It'll be pretty obvious when we come up on it. Yeah, he was there for years. In fact, a preacher at that church I've been to in Gamboa, he was ministering to Noriega for a while. Maybe I should ask him for an interview because I know him, and maybe he would talk about it because he's really smart and he's got a lot of experiences here. Okay, here we come up on the prison. Not yet. We're almost there. I don't usually go this route by train. I usually go by ship. So here it is. This is the prison on the right. See, we're coming. It's right by the canal, so Noriega could actually see the canal. I wonder if anybody blew their horns from the ships when they went by. So that's the canal on the left. That's the prison on the right. Noriega was there, the American Kurt Muse. So this was raided during the invasion. American forces came in here. I think it was the 82nd. I'm sorry if I'm wrong on that, military guys. But I think the 82nd came in there. Sorry, I didn't think I was going to narrate this, so I didn't stop to look it up, but I think it was the 82nd. So we're going to come up on the train track, or the bridge here that got hit by the ship, lost steering, and smashed. Now, I've talked to a couple of people that investigated it. One says he thinks it was definitely an honest accident, and another one says he thinks it was definitely something potentially worse. That white thing on the right, by the way, is just for guiding for the canal pilots that are piloting the ship. So here comes the train track. I go under this bridge sometimes when we took Brett Weinstein and Dr. Chris Martinson and others out there. They went under this bridge with us. So that's the bridge. Misako and I go under sometimes. Ann Vandersteel's been out here on this lake. So in front of us, way out in front, is actually Gatun Lake, the famous Gatun Lake. And so here we go. There's a lot of crocodiles out here, and I mean some really significant crocodiles, man-eaters, like actual, truly man-eaters. So this bridge got smashed by a ship. Coincidentally, maybe an accident. I mean, look how big the canal is, but somehow it just happened to hit this bridge. Maybe coincidence. I mean, because notice you haven't gone over any bridges yet, and then this bridge gets hit. I mean, it could have just hit the canal. That's probably an accident. So in any case, I have no idea. So yeah, sometimes we go right under this bridge. You can get little boats over there on the right if you come to Panama. I suggest you do. Take a tour and get out on Gatun Lake. It's really cool. You'll really like it. If you got children, you absolutely need to take them. It's very important. We're going to come up on the church and the Nazi crane soon. You see that thing on the little lighthouse on the right? I went up there with Brett Weinstein because he studies bats. And there's bats that live in that little lighthouse. We went up inside of that. It's pretty cool, too. So if you come around here, make sure you can walk up there, and it's open, so it's free for you to go in. This is Panama. They just let you go in. You can see the bats, and, Brett knows a lot about bats. See, that's a Nazi crane right in front of us right there. It's actually somehow made it over from Germany. I'm not sure how they did all that, but they did it. Well, they got some pretty big ships, and I'm sure they took it apart. So there it is. It's still operational. I was told that it used to have a swastika on it, but at least inside of it. And I think it came down from California. Somehow it made it to California. I'm not sure. Somebody would know the history. But over to the right somewhere is the church that I've been to a couple times. I should have gone Sunday, but I didn't go because there's so many things that are requiring my attention that are, you'll see, there's some things coming up. So there's the Nazi crane on the left. Isn't that wild? It's just like you never know what you're going to see out on this canal. And I wonder how much I'm missing. Because like every time you come out here, you learn something else significant that you've never even heard of before. You know, like Nazi crane. You know, random stuff. All right, so this video will keep going. I'll be quiet, and finally it'll end and without saying goodbye. And please make sure to read the text below. Very interesting stuff. And also definitely donate if you can. This is very expensive. And you're going to see some stuff come up here soon. I mean, not on the train, but the things that we're doing in Panama soon that are going to be very interesting. All right, thanks for help. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for donating. As you can imagine, this stuff is expensive. And please thank Masako for climbing up on the train and putting that camera up on top that we're watching right now. So here it is. Masako and I are going down the railroad that now apparently has been bought by Maersk, the Danish company, you know, related to Greenland. This could be a signal back to Trump that the Danish are gonna resist. And so Maersk, look at these containers on the left. Maersk, there are thousands of these containers in the ports beside the canal. These railroad tracks that we're on may as well be made out of gold. I mean, that's how valuable this is, how strategic this is. I mean, the engine that I'm riding on may as well be made out of gold. And Misako and I were here. We went all the way up and down this thing, and every train that you pass is, or the port containers, it's Maersk, Maersk, Maersk. So many of these things, and yeah, this was a serious chess move. There's a lot of people playing 5D chess here, and 5G chess, unfortunately. Look at this. Yep, this is one of the most valuable little stretches of railway on Earth. Maybe the most valuable, I do not know. I have no way of knowing, but I know that since 1855, this bad boy has been strategic. And that's 170 years. And now the Danish are taking it while Trump is doing whatever Trump is doing.